Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we will be now talking about Tropical Depression 2, which has just formed with the latest advisory at 5 p.m. from Invest 95L. It has been now upgraded by the National Hurricane Center to a tropical depression. Currently has sustained winds of 35 miles per hour and a central pressure of 1,007 millibars. It is currently moving west at 17 miles per hour. And the National Hurricane Center has also marked this area of interest of disturbed weather behind Tropical Depression 2, which I was talking about in the video yesterday, which they currently have as a low chance of development over the next 2 to 7 days, with 0% chance over the next 2 days, 30% chance over the next 7 days. They're saying a tropical wave located several hundred miles south-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Some slow development of the system is possible this next week, while it moves generally westward at 15 to 20 miles per hour across the central and western tropical Atlantic. And we'll see how the models trend with this system. Yesterday, they were, especially the GFS and Canadian models, were pretty bullish with it forming. The Euro was still showing it maybe forming, but a much weaker system. Now this other disturbance that's still out in the Western Caribbean, about to head over the Yucatan and into the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, really still has a low chance, a 30-30 shot over the next 2 to 7 days of developing. But it really doesn't look like it will form into any kind of tropical cyclone. But it will bring more enhanced rainfall and possibly more flooding to Mexico after it has already dealt with the flooding and heavy rainfall from Alberto last week. So in this video, really, we're just going to be focusing on Tropical Depression 2. So let's take a look at the National Hurricane Center's first official cone forecast for Tropical Depression 2, and it has it becoming a tropical storm overnight tonight and into tomorrow, and it has it even reaching hurricane status officially by 2 p.m. Sunday. So it looks like Sunday, more likely than not at this point, we will have our first hurricane of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. And actually, the National Hurricane Center has it peaking at 105 miles per hour, which is a strong Category 2 hurricane. Now, let's see if in the discussion, yeah, here we go. Here's the forecasted sustained winds that the National Hurricane Center is forecasting Tropical Depression 2 to be at each of those marked points. By, it looks like 96 hours out from now, at 18Z on the 2nd of July, it will have 90 knot sustained winds or 105 miles per hour, which is a strong Category 2 hurricane, just a bit below major hurricane status. So looks like we could actually be seeing our first fairly significant hurricane of the season as it continues westward across the southern Lesser Antilles, Windward Islands, and into the Caribbean. So we'll see. We will see for sure over the next few days, see if it's able to actually continue to strengthen like that and become a stronger type of hurricane as our first hurricane of this hurricane season. Now here, let's take a look at right now. They have a rainfall forecast of for the Lesser Antilles, Windward Islands. They currently have up to generally 4 to 6 inches of rainfall for those central to southern parts of the Windward Islands, Lesser Antilles. So heavy rainfall still, regardless, is coming towards that area from the system, and some stronger winds, especially by, let's take a look at that cone forecast again, because by that time it will likely already be at hurricane status and be still strengthening at that time. So let's see, at 2 p.m. Monday as of right now, it looks like it'll be over the southern Lesser Antilles. So let's go back to that discussion to see if we can figure that out. So Monday, 2 p.m. So that's the 18Z, 72 hours from now. 18Z, July 1st. That is Monday, and it's at 100 miles per hour. So already a Category 2 hurricane at that point. So we'll see if it indeed becomes a Category 2 hurricane. If it is a Category 2 hurricane by that time, as it's really impacting and making landfall going across those islands. So that'll be very interesting to track and update you guys on as we move forward through the weekend and into next week. Now let's go on Tropical Tidbits and take a look at Tropical Depression 2. You can see it is continuing to form and get better organized. You can see bunch of strong deep convection is continuing to fire up over the center of circulation with a very very good look to it, with a really good outflow, as you can see, especially to its northwestern side, and really all around a very healthy looking tropical cyclone. As it continues to strengthen, especially, we'll likely see it continue to look better and better. Now, the general model track guidance. Here's the general model track guidance. It continues to be in great agreement with the system continuing to move to the west, going over the southern Lesser Antilles, Windward Islands, and into the Caribbean Sea. Now, as we get a little further out, there is some more disparity, with still a majority of the models having it track through the more northern part of the Caribbean, towards Jamaica, towards just south of Cuba. But some have it tracking a bit further south and directly through the center of the Central Caribbean and back towards Nicaragua, Honduras. But all of them end up kind of generally taking it in towards the kind of more central part of Central America there, the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, maybe all the way to towards the end of this. But we'll just have to see how that ends up tracking and how the system ends up really tracking, and how much it really strengthens. That'll really all depend on how strong it really gets. Now let's look at the current 18Z intensity guidance, and you can see really a majority of the models have it becoming quite strong, very likely a hurricane. Majority has it peaking at a Category 2, Category 3 maybe at this point, towards that 72, 84, 96 hour general mark. So we will see. The strongest of the intensity guidance has it getting is maybe a weak Category 4 hurricane. Let's see if that ever happens. Will really depend on how well it fights off this all this dry air, especially, that it will be dealing with, but also likely wind shear as it starts to get into the Caribbean, especially the eastern central Caribbean. So let's take a look at models now. We'll look at GFS, Canadian, European model as usual, and we'll zoom into. Let's just look at the North Atlantic. It'll be easier for now. Tropical Depression 2 is right here. This is the GFS. The 18Z run is just coming in now. It only has through 126 hours. But let's see what the GFS has in store now for up to that point for this new run. There you go. You can see Tropical Depression 2, the GFS is showing, has it really strengthening, getting down towards around 970 millibars as it gets towards, or even the upper 960 millibars as it gets towards the Lesser Antilles, southern Lesser Antilles, Windward Islands, and it crosses into the Caribbean. You can see that marked system now the National Hurricane Center has behind Tropical Depression 2. The GFS also has it forming and strengthening as well. And you can see, though, Tropical Depression 2 we're really focusing on, has it going where most of the model track guidance has it really going, through the northern parts of the Caribbean, south of Hispaniola to the around Jamaica and southern Cuba. But you can see as well the system behind Tropical Depression 2, the GFS has it basically tracking through that same general area as well, tracking basically right behind it, pretty far close behind it. But that will be another system to really closely track for another time. Now let's take a look at the European model. And the European model, once again, here is Tropical Depression 2 here, and this area of disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity is that new area of interest the National Hurricane Center has just recently marked today. Move this forward in time, and you can see the European model has Tropical Depression 2 strengthening, but not getting nearly as strong, but still tracking. It's having it track a bit further south in the Caribbean than the GFS has it, and has it going to the south of Jamaica and then curving towards the Yucatan Peninsula and into then the southwestern Gulf of Mexico and into Mexico. Or actually, you guys can't really see that. Hold on. There we go. Now you guys will be able to see it. There you go, right there. But the system that the National Hurricane Center has just marked, the European model, is also showing, unlike the GFS, a much weaker system. Not really all that, continues to really not be all that organized, and just kind of is a much more broad system, and maybe a much weaker tropical cyclone if it does become a named system. So that is what the European model is showing. And let's now look at the Canadian model. Canadian model, once again, here's Tropical Depression 2 here. This is the other area of interest. We move time forward, and you can see the Canadian model is still shows it being a much weaker system than the GFS has it still, but a stronger system than the European shows as it gets towards the Lesser Antilles, Windward Islands, but as it crosses that area on Monday. And then it shows it being much more in line, or like actually much more in the right in the middle of where the GFS and European has it tracking in the Caribbean. Basically going, like the GFS really shows, much more in line, going just a bit south of Hispaniola, but then going right over Jamaica, and then heading towards the northern part of the Yucatan, and then into the western Gulf of Mexico, and then making landfall just south of the Texas-Mexico border. So that will be interesting to watch at that point in time, way far out. That's not until, let's see, that's not until the end of next weekend and into the following week, really. So yeah, that's a long time away. We'll just have to see how that goes. But that's really about it. Now let's just take the look at overall this Atlantic hurricane season up to this point. We've had one named storm, Alberto. Now we have Tropical Depression 2. So now we have had 2 tropical cyclones form so far this season. Total ACE at this point is 0.8 units, mostly and really so far just from Alberto, since it was a very short-lived tropical storm. But seems like what will become Beryl pretty soon, Tropical Depression 2, will rack up a good amount of ACE most likely through its lifespan, really get that number up a good bit as we head throughout the rest of this weekend and through next week. And so once again, we've had now 2 tropical cyclones, likely our second named storm to form by later today or tomorrow, as we can take a look at that cone forecast again. Likely probably either late tonight or early tomorrow morning is really when it will likely become a tropical storm, is my guess at this point. So that is really it for today's video, guys. I really hope you found it enjoyable, informative. If you have, comment down below. How strong do you guys think Tropical Depression 2 will get? Let's have a nice, lively discussion down there in the comments section. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content and want to see much more like it as we continue through the hurricane season. So, again, please consider subscribing for more future content like that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.